Good morning, everybody.
Oh, that song. Good morning to you. It is time to skip the BS. It is time for Undisputed. It is time for you to respond to us at #UndisputedLive. On today's show, we will dive into Jerry raving about Dak. What? Micah on Brock Purt. What?
Oh, Richard's gonna love
Cowboys
this
1,
one.
49ers 2 in the Athletics power ranking. LeBron falling out of the top 10 NBA players.
Jeez, all
And
this
is
stuff I
Deion
missed last night,
Sanders
apparently.
the best interview in sports? All that coming up. But first up, we talk MESS, mess, as in Jets. As in, are they already waiting till next year, or can they make a miracle run with Zach
I wonder
Wilson,
if
or
Aaron
maybe
Rodgers
another
has said
quarterback
anything
who
yet.
can better fill the
haven't
winged
seen anything
cleats
on
of
social
Aaron
media.
Rodgers? Now lost for the season with an Achilles tear. Joining me now are
be nice
Richard
to know what he
Sherman
wants to do
and
in the future.
Keyshawn Johnson. Good morning and good luck to both of you.
Morning, Skip. Good luck to
morning,
us.
Skip.
Okay, here we go.
Good luck.
A report does say that Colin
Kaepernick's
Kaepernick's agent reached out to the Jets after Aaron Rodgers was lost for the season. Kaepernick, who is 35, hasn't played in 6 seasons. So, Richard,
That's it?
you first, please.
That was
You
way
played
longer
against
than that.
Colin Kaepernick in his last game on January 1st, 2017, as your Seahawks won at San Francisco 25-23. How realistic would it be for him to be as good as he ever was right now for the Jets?
I mean, if you just took us back there and took us to that Kaepernick, he played pretty good in that game. I think
Yep.
he was 17-22, threw a touchdown, didn't throw any interceptions. I think he fumbled twice, but I mean, we had a really good defense, but he played really well that game. I mean, he threw for 200. He was a really good quarterback at times. He was solid at other times. I think at the end, things got the pressure, the weight of the world kind of got on his back, and he didn't play as well, but I think the last full season he started, he had 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, which doesn't sound that awful, but his completion percentage was under 60. And I think back then, I mean, you can make an argument that he'd be a serviceable quarterback. He'd definitely be an option in this situation. But after 7 years, we all saw what happened to Deshaun Watson after less than 2 years of being away from the game. So 7 years just seems like a lot, and I don't see it happening, really.
You got to unpack it a lot of different ways, Skip, right? You start off by
Sucks to say, but I don't
exactly
think it's
what Richard
happening
said. 7 years is a long
Long
time for anybody in any sport to do anything.
Yeah.
Even in life in general, to restart something after 7 years is tough. Is he healthy? Yes. Does he still have the athletic ability? Yes. Does he still have one of the strongest arms? Yes. All of those things
No
is
doubt.
true.
Agreed.
But there's so much to unpack around the Kaepernick situation and who he is, and what he is, and what he stands for.
Such as?
Let's start with the fact that you're asking him to come to New York City on a team that's loaded, that just got over the HBO Hard Knocks distraction. So now you bring in a Kaepernick situation, which people will make into a huge deal. So now players that did not play, didn't see Kaepernick play, whatever the case may be, have to endure that in their locker room on a daily basis. And they're innocent. They don't know anything about anything. On top of that, the ownership group has to align themselves with the mindset and the thinking process of the quarterback. They have to be lock in step. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Because?
Well, it's not going to happen because they're in a different world in the way that they think. The owner in Woody Johnson thinks one way, and Colin Kaepernick thinks another way. Let's be honest here, Skip. Well, a whole nother way. So that's not going to work. It's a good idea. If I was running a team and a general manager, president of a team, and a player was gone for 7 years, but I thought he could still play, I might kick the tires on it just to work him out to see what it is if I was in a situation of non-believing in Zach Wilson. We'll get there. But in this situation, Skip, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Key. If it was earlier in the year, I'd be for it. If this was March, I'd say, bring him in, work him out, because at least you got all OTAs and your training camp to try to get him back. But you can't bring him in the middle of, the start of a season and say, hey, just get in there.
The very
You've been
beginning
in for
of
7 years,
new season.
speed of the game, you got it.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
All right, let's start from the start. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of Colin Kaepernick. When he first kneeled, I'll be the first to admit, I cringed because I didn't know what he was doing, and I don't like anybody disrespecting our anthem and our flag, but I did not know the purpose until he spoke after that game. And
nobody
he spoke
knew.
Eloquently.
Yeah.
And once it became all about police brutality and protesting just that, he won me completely over. The Nate Boyers of the world, the ex-militaries of the world who stood in lockstep with him at that point. That won me over.
it's honestly sickening
I was always
that he
a
got
fan
kicked
of
out
him
of
as
the
a
league because of
quarterback,
this.
and I still don't think Jim Harbaugh gets enough credit for what he did midstream with Alex Smith that season. He said, no, I'm going with this kid. And they went all the way to the Super Bowl. And remember, it was a controversial last play of the Super Bowl that I thought was pass interference that they just looked the other way at. But that's how close Colin came from winning a Super Bowl coming from nowhere at midseason. I look at his playoff games that he played. He was 4-2 in the postseason. That first one, I know you guys remember
4-2 in
this,
the postseason
against Green Bay at home. He
quarterbacks.
went crazy. Remember, he ran for 181 yards in that game and threw for 263. Then he goes and beats Aaron at Aaron in the sub-freezing frozen tundra temperatures and outplayed Aaron in that game. He was really good for a long time. That year that Richard's talking about, he went 1-10 as a starter because they were falling all apart around him. But to Richard's point, he had 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. So he played at an extremely high level for a long time. Then it all fell apart around him because he wound up suing this league for collusion, and it got settled. You know and I know, once you sue this group of owners, these are proud men, and once you step across that line, it's just hard to step back because you can call it white-balled or black-balled or whatever you want to call it, but that's what happened. And once you do that kind of damage to the league as far as they're concerned with their image,
let me sue you real quick, and then I want you to come and pay me a
that.
contract too.
So do I think the Jets are going to take a shot with him? I don't. Do I think, to your point, do I think he could still play right here, right now if he got the OTAs and the preseason games? Absolutely, I do.
Look, here's, in terms of Kaepernick, could he play? Yes. If I'm Robert Saleh, do I want to take a look at it? No. Because I don't want the distraction in my locker room. I got a quarterback that I claim that I'm telling the world I believe in, which I know is not the truth. I'm not going to call him a liar. But Robert Saleh, Richard, Skip, he doesn't believe that Zach Wilson can lead this team to the promised land, because if he did, he wouldn't have been kicking the tires on Carr trying to go figure out how to get Aaron Rodgers for so long if he felt that Zach Wilson was the guy. But here's what I would say about Zach Wilson. There's an opportunity here, Skip, for this young man. As long as Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, could surround him with the right stuff and help him understand what type of player he could be. We saw what Nathaniel Hackett did in a train wreck out there in Denver with Russell Wilson. But can you somehow dial it back enough that Zach Wilson doesn't become a liability for the football team, as they have a championship caliber defense, a strong running game? Okay, in 1999, we insert New York Jets. We insert Ray Lucas. You remember that name, Skip?
Do I?
We insert
I
Ray
worked
Lucas.
with him on a show called Cold Pizza. Go ahead.
I inserted Ray Lucas into the lineup. He started 9 games for us after the bye week. Down the stretch, we went on a roll.
You did.
Okay, we went 9-3 with him as a starter. And
because he played careful football.
Because he played careful football. But our coaching staff, and Charlie Weiss and Dan Henning and Bill Parcells and Mo Carthon and Todd Haley, offensively put him in a situation with Curtis Martin and a solid defense and said, hey, we're going to run the ball. And when we throw, you're going to throw at the 19, and this is what you're going to do. And it worked for us to make a strong run. And to the end of the season, had we inserted him into the lineup, we wouldn't have missed the beat at the beginning of the year. We could have found ourselves making a deep run in the playoffs. The whole caveat to all of that, though, Sherm, is that they knew what to do with Ray Lucas. Just like the Philadelphia Eagles knew what to do with Nick Foles to go 5-1 and go to the Super Bowl. Let's face it, Nick Foles wasn't, I mean, come on. Nick Foles is on the street now. And he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But they knew what to do with it.
That was the best he's ever played.
And they knew what to do with it.
I think that's the recipe for success has always been the same. Great defense and a running game, especially with a young quarterback. I mean, you talk about you guys' run. I mean, even our Super Bowl run, Russ was young. You know, he was young and he played well, but Pete was like, hey, you just need to manage the game. You don't need to throw for a lot. You don't need to don't turn the ball over. Hand it to Marshawn, get it to Doug, get it to Curse, get it to our playmakers, but just don't turn the ball over and we can win this game. And they have a good enough defense to do that. They have a defense that clearly has shown, hey, we will make enough plays to keep giving you the ball and keep giving you chances. Just don't give it back to them. Just don't turn it over. And Breece Hall, they got the stable of running backs to have the kind of running game that you're talking about. They also have the playmakers at wide receiver that can take a little bit and turn it into a lot. So I think you've got all the ingredients there for a young quarterback to succeed if the coordinator, like you said, like Cooper Rush last year, we talked about that.
It's just crazy because like if the Jets
do
end up doing somewhat good this year with Zach Wilson, it's just going to be
they made
a
it
huge
really
what if.
condensed, and they said these are the things you need to do. Don't do
even if they still make the playoffs,
just do this, stay in this box.
And
he did it really well, and they were able to
say
win
they
the
even
ball
win a
game.
game
So
in
if they're
playoffs,
able to condense the game plan and make it simple,
what would have happened with Aaron
play to his
Rodgers?
strengths, move him around in the pocket, some screens and things like that, I mean, it could work.
Okay, before we leave Cap behind, one last quick story. This was May 25th of 2022, so it was about 14 months ago, year and 4 months ago, 16 months ago.
Yeah, he pops up in the news every so often.
Spike Lee came to L.A. and was working on a documentary on Colin Kaepernick and wanted me to sit down with him, Spike, and do an extended interview about what I had seen in Kaepernick's life and times. So we're in the midst of doing the interview here in L.A., and his assistant knocks on the door, interrupts us, taping, and says, hey, you're not going to believe this, but Mark Davis has just brought in Colin Kaepernick for a workout with the Raiders in Las Vegas. They were scheduled, Spike and company, to go interview Mark Davis the very next day, leaving L.A. for Las Vegas, and yet nothing came of that workout. I thought at the moment, maybe this is right on schedule. Maybe he's doing this because he knows Spike is coming to interview him, Mark Davis. Maybe he's just doing it as a favor to the league, or maybe he's the one. His father was called the ultimate maverick. Maybe he's going to break ranks here and say, no, I'm going with Colin Kaepernick because I think he has a future in this league, just the way Jerry would go with Trey Lance or somebody like that. So my point is, nothing came out of that. That was the last time we saw him on an NFL field actually getting some quote-unquote chance to work out. So from here on, it's been so long, as Richard points out, it's 6 years. You're so far away from playing football that it's hard for anybody to wrap their minds around him suddenly just flipping the switch and getting back into football.
It would be very difficult, Skip. Like Richard said, had it been the spring and into the summer, yes, but you're bringing somebody in.
But even then, that's like a
possibility.
possibility.
Up to speed for another 5 weeks.
No.
Before he really gets up to speed.
Yeah.
So now you're bringing in 5 weeks of stuff that will be hovering around and they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Okay. And yet, every time there's a big opening in pro football, the agent jumps in and says, oh, we're here. We're still here.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him for doing this. It brings attention to Colin. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, he is a quarterback that has taken him to the Super Bowl. He's had success in his league.
Yeah.
So if I'm his agent, what else can you do? If I have the ties in the way to get my client out there and say, hey, like, he's out here, he's still available, he's taking the team to the Super Bowl, he can do this, then I would do it too. But
I got
it's
it.
just.
So,
but back to your point earlier, Skip.
I mean, work him out.
Yeah, go
Why
ahead.
not,
Go
right?
ahead, Richard.
It's not like he's been sitting there on the
When
couch
he
eating
settled
chips.
with him,
Yes.
that was the end of it. That was the end of it.
He's definitely been working out
Once
every
they
day.
gave him money and said, hey, we're paying for you to go away, they agreed that they're not going to let him back in this league.
You're going to go away. Yeah.
You know how much pride they would have to swallow to do that?
Yeah, I mean,
got
if he sued the
last big picture
knowing
point
this now,
about
he sued
Colin.
the owners, there's just
My only
no chance
disappointment in his post-football life is he is such a great and powerful speaker. I thought he was going to become the voice of the movement, as in the crusader, the leader, the groundbreaker. And for whatever reason, maybe you guys know him or have some connection, he has not been that. He stays completely quiet and out of sight. He does his little media things that he can control, but he has not been a dominant voice protesting police brutality or social justice, racial justice. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. It certainly has slowed down from the beginning, but why that is, I have no idea.
Yeah, Richard, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of a burden to put on one man.
Probably because he got kicked out of the league and
was
doesn't want to talk about it anymore. If that's how people are going to look at him.
When he first did this, it was a lot of weight to put on one human being. And I don't care how strong of a human being, how great, eloquent of a speaker, you're still a human being. And
you are.
What he was doing, he did it for all the right reasons. He was convicted in it, but. I don't think it's fair to put the weight of the world and the weight of a movement on one human being. I think he went out there and did the best he could and the most work he could.
He was trying to start something.
He wanted the weight on his shoulders, and apparently not. Okay, let's get back to the real world now. Zach Wilson again. You say, can he be that guy that Ray Lucas was? He's not cut from that same cloth. Listen, I didn't like him at BYU because he was a rambling gambler, and he's got a nice arm now, and he's got some athletic ability. But it's what's the old cliche? It's $1 million arm and two-cent head. Yeah, you know, like he's got no poise, no feel, no touch.
But I can rein it in.
Well, boy,
and this is how
it's not how you were born.
No, it's not.
Know?
I can rein it in because I don't put you in that situation. Okay, there's many quarterbacks in this league. They like on television when they call in the game, they like to call it dummy it down. Right? I like to keep him in the box. That's what I like to call it because you got to be smart enough to play the quarterback position. But if I'm the coordinator and I'm dialing things up and I'm game planning with my staff, I know your strengths and your weaknesses. You can't do the same things as Aaron Rodgers. So the first thing, this playbook is this big. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this thing in half, and then I'm going to put it in a quarter for you.
Okay.
And that's how we're going to win.
And you're going to throw it to Garrett Wilson.
I'm going to throw it to Garrett Wilson. I want you to be 17 of 24.
Okay.
200 yards, a touchdown in the red zone, by the way, or a slip screen that the dude takes the whole way. 0 turnovers.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I want you to be. Can I get you to do that? Yes, I can. Because it's a screen game. It's a quick game. Once or twice a game, maybe we take a deep shot on the perimeter sideline. So only my guy catches it or the ball goes out of bounds. There's certain things you can do to have a guy be effective. Richard just talked about Russell Wilson early in his career. Russell Wilson wasn't Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was a guy who wore a jersey in Seattle, number 3, and the defense was solid and sound. And he handed the football to Marshawn Lynch, and every now and then he threw it to Doug Baldwin. That's how they won.
Okay, but Russ was an explosive young player. Every once in a while, as Richard will attest, he could explode on you with arm and leg.
Yeah, definitely.
I understand that, but he wasn't the anchor. You don't win Super Bowls by having an anchor at quarterback.
I mean, look at it. As soon as they go to put it in Russ's hands to win a Super Bowl, look what happens.
You look at Super Bowl numbers, people are efficient.
Quick throw to Malcolm Bowen.
My guy won his first Super Bowl at Patrick Mahomes. Just look at his numbers. He threw 2 picks and still won the game. But his numbers wasn't so gaudy. Tom Brady lost throwing for 500 yards.
He did, 505.
505.
That's the all-time playoff record.
That's my whole goal to try to get you to understand is you don't have to be Dan Marino to win the Super Bowl with numbers.
All right, let me throw one other name at you. Out on the market right now is not a young man anymore, an older man that I still have high respect for because I watched him so much in college, and that's Colt McCoy. He started a lot of big games for the University of Texas. He started the national championship game. He got hurt.
No, I'm good.
Okay?
He's good, Skip.
Okay?
Right,
I'm just telling you.
I mean, the pool of players available is not that great.
I can't.
He can do this because he knows how to
Who are their
play
options?
the position.
I get
and
it.
I've watched him do
35-year-old Colin Kaepernick or 46-year-old Tom Brady?
2014 on a Monday night, he was playing for the rival Washington, came to Dallas on Monday Night Football and threw for 300 yards, going 25 of 30 for 300. For 300?
You talking about 2014? That's the same time frame that damn Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl.
Okay, and then there was another Monday night game in which he threw for 270 yards against Dallas, but they lost. But my point is, he's the kind of guy, when you look at what the Jets have, a very good defense, a very good running game, a very good offensive line. You stick that in. And, okay, he is much lower risk than Zach Wilson.
No, he's
yes,
not.
he is.
No, he's not.
Yes.
Skip, no, he's not. I'd rather sign Carson Wentz. I'd go get Carson Wentz.
I mean,
in a heartbeat.
I'd go get Carson Wentz.
In a heartbeat, if you want to go sign somebody off the streets, go sign Carson Wentz.
I mean, Colt McCoy was starting games for Arizona last year in place of Kyler.
You could start games for Arizona, Skip.
No,
and Arizona was picking top 5 for a reason.
You could start games for Arizona.
Well, so could you. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, 100%. That's how bad they are.
And we'd lose.
Yeah, we would lose.
what I would say is Colt McCoy isn't a winner. He's not a winner. He's not known for winning. He doesn't know how to win. He doesn't know how to win in the National Football League. He hasn't won in the National Football League. And he lost in the national championship when stuff got hard.
Where
is he at the national championship?
No, he didn't lose. He got hurt. He just got hurt. They were right there. He was playing very well.
Such a regional bias
No,
guy.
I don't have any. I hate Texas. I despise everything
I'm
orange.
not even saying.
I hate them.
I'm not even saying the school. I said the
hate 'em.
region. I didn't say school. I said region.
I'm just talking about people who know.
Did he get hurt enough? If he didn't get hurt, then
I
he lost, and that's
tell
one
you
thing. But
right
he
here,
skips
right
right and
now,
he got hurt.
Colt McCoy would do better than Zach Wilson would do for the next 6 or 8 games. And you know who they got to play coming up now? They got to play New England.
This could not. This might age not that great for
I'm going after
Keyshawn.
Dallas. I know, but Colt McCoy.
I think if Zach Wilson has a couple bad weeks and he's gone, then who knows?
Kansas City and Philadelphia. Okay, good luck with that,
Yeah.
Zach Wilson.
If you told
Zach
me-
Wilson
if
will
you told me-
unravel. Just watch.
If you told me, hey, we could go with Jacoby Brissett, who played decent football last year for the Browns with less talent than the Jets have, then I would say, okay, I could see Jacoby Brissett having success. Move the ball around. He's not going to make huge mistakes. He's going to hand the ball off. He's going to manage the game perfectly. A perfect game manager. If you wanted to get high risk, high reward, you call the Saints and see what Jameis is talking about. Jameis is a up and down. He's at the 30 for 30 year with 5,000 yards, but for his career, he's got an 87.2 passer rating. Like, he's solid. If Jameis could have a good year in 2021, he had 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He could get the job done. But to say Colt McCoy right now, I mean, what?
All right, I would take Colt McCoy over another guy who's on the market who I never loved, named Carson Wentz, because Carson Wentz is just a bigger, stronger Zach Wilson. That's who he is. He's Zach Wilson who failed miserably at the highest level.
Here's what, no, he's better than Zach Wilson. But again,
Yeah, he's better than Zach.
I will tell you this.
Maybe a little better than Zach,
You
but
have
like
to have
way
a
older.
coaching staff
Way less
that
upside.
understands how to put the
I
quarterback
mean, Zach
in
was the number 2
positions to
overall pick.
succeed.
I haven't
And
seen him
felt
really. I didn't watch
too
him at all at
many
BYU,
times
but I mean,
we look
number
at
2
these
overall pick
quarterbacks
is
and
kind
we
of just
just
hard to
assume
just
that they're gonna
toss
be
out the
great
window
because
for
they were
nothing.
good in
For a
college.
bag of
If you
chips.
don't go to the right situation,
Carson Wentz is not-
and you're surrounded with the right circumstances, you are deemed to fail.
Carson
That
Wentz
is the
got his
bottom
team to the
line.
Super Bowl,
Nathaniel
and then
Hackett and
before
Robert
he played the
Saleh
Super Bowl,
has
got
work to
injured,
do
and
to
the
get
backup
Zach
quarterback
Wilson
came
up
in
to
and won
speed.
the Super Bowl.
Bring
Like, that just
thing
says how
down,
good the
man.
team is
You don't
without
have to be
Carson
cute with
Wentz.
everything.
Before you were in New York and Bill Parcells was in New York with the Giants, what did he do winning a Super Bowl with a guy named Jeff Hostetler? How good was Jeff Hostetler?
Jeff, I said it was okay.
He was just okay. He was Colt
Yeah,
McCoy.
but guess
is
what?
he was.
Oh, God, Colt
No.
McCoy.
Yeah.
But he had
No,
56.
no, you
He
giving
had-
Colt
he
McCoy
had
too
50
much.
Yeah, man, he had 56 on the other side.
Come on.
He had 56 over
all
there,
right.
and Harry Carson and Pepper Johnson and all
No,
these dudes.
I got that. But that's my point. He was Colt McCoy. Trust me. He was Colt McCoy.
He was Colt McCoy when Colt McCoy first entered the league.
Yeah.
I don't want no Colt McCoy at 36 years old playing midway through the season.
You want to keep it
No.
between the lines?
No.
That's what I want
I'm
to do.
going to get
I
Carson
can win
Wentz,
a bunch
Jacoby
of games with
Brissett,
Colt
Jameis
McCoy.
Winston, or I'm sticking
Colt
with
McCoy ain't
Zach.
won a bunch of games. Skip, when
Where
has
has
Colt
he ever
McCoy
been
won a bunch
to
of
win a
games?
bunch of games?
He's been
always
under
been in the
500.
worst place
You
at the
just
worst
said,
time.
I'm going to win a bunch of games with Colt McCoy. Colt
With
McCoy
this
has won
group?
11 games
With
in his
this group?
career.
The reason, I don't mean to stomp on Colt McCoy, but the reason he's been in bad places is because he was bad.
No, sometimes you just have
No,
bad
you can't keep going to bad places because at some point in time, if you good enough, they gonna hold on to you and they gonna build it around you. When he was in Cleveland, he wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Well,
Just wasn't.
You guys are trying to make the case for a Zach Wilson to dumb it down.
No, we not.
No, for a come on. I mean, he has played dummy football. That's all he ever plays.
Look, he was not.
I feel like there's no
smart
right answer
the last
here.
couple years.
Like, they're all
And
horrible
some
options.
things he did. There's a
I
new
first
offensive
guessed that.
coordinator
Yeah.
in place. The coordinator has to
Any
help
of these
the
guys
young
that they just
quarterback.
mentioned,
not
I'm
letting the
taking
coaches off the
46-year-old
hook.
Tom
The
Brady.
coordinator was there to help the old quarterback.
The Jets
because
needs
the
to
old
call
quarterback-
Tom Brady. He was just in New England. Maybe he's still in New
the
England
old
from this
quarterback,
past
he just
weekend.
made him laugh. That's all Nathaniel Hackett
Just get a
ever did.
quick
Made
flight
him
to
laugh.
New York.
Nathaniel Hackett was
He laughed at 2
efficient
MVPs
in
with him.
Jacksonville. He was efficient in
Although if
Jacksonville.
I'm Tom Brady,
with
I'm going in that
Blake
room and I'm
Bortles.
saying,
You
yeah,
can't
we
do
need a
something with
new
Zach Wilson.
offensive
You
line
shouldn't have a job
before I
then.
do anything.
Okay. Hey, in the end,
I can't play
Aaron
that.
Rodgers
I'll
actually
tear my
calling the
Achilles.
plays for Zach Wilson in the preseason game. I don't know if you saw it on Hard Knocks, but he's calling plays
That
for
may
him.
go back.
They should try that.
Yeah, I don't know if I just thought something, Skip, when I said that you could be the quarterback in Arizona. You said I could be the receiver in Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't think I would want you throwing the football to me.
Hey, I can wing it. Yeah. And I'm in way better shape than you ever thought about being. So one of us would be in shape.
Than you ever
and
thought
one of us
about
wouldn't be
being.
in shape.
I just
One of
wouldn't
us
want you
could
throwing the
move
ball.
and one of us can't move anymore.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Skip's jacked.
Yeah.
Skip. Skip.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, up next.
They're gonna hit the
by
turf
way,
after
you
this
can
one.
reach us at hashtag
Me doing 40
Undisputed
yards.
Live, but I can't wait for this one. Is Dak Prescott the greatest leader the Cowboys have ever had? That's what Jerry Jones said yesterday.
Oh my God.